What's going on, everybody? It is Brad Buchanan, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to improve your Shopify load speed. So if you don't know about load speed, it's just essentially how fast it takes your website to load. This is obviously, it's crucial. It is crucial for e-commerce stores in particular because people will not wait for your website to load. So if you have a slow loading website, you're going to be losing customers, you're going to be losing business. You need to be optimizing your Shopify stores from the moment you start running ads. I cannot stress this enough. You are wasting money on doing everything else if you have a 9-second loading website. So I'm going to hop into exactly how we do that, and here we go. So a lot of people have this misconception about Shopify that you can't really modify a lot of the back-end stuff. And while that is partially true, there are a lot of things that we can improve. And I'm going to show you those right now. So this is a service that's free. It's called gtmetrics.com. And what it does is it will go onto your website and it will analyze exactly how fast things are loading and where you can improve your website's load speed. So we're just going to hop right into this. This is just when you come here, this is the first thing you'll see is you enter in your URL and hit analyze right here. I've already run this. I found a random Shopify store. I just Googled Shopify store, and this is one of the ones that came up. It looks like these guys sell sunglasses. So I'm just going to be doing a quick analysis of this website, and I'll kind of show you where the improvements are, where they can be made, and how significant they will be. So this is the GT metrics. I've already entered this in and ran the report because it takes a couple seconds to load. Here it is right here. You can see that their page speed score is a 41%. They're failing there. They have a total load speed of 4.8 seconds. Total page size of 3.5 megabytes. That's very high. You can see the average here is 2.56 megabytes. They also have 126 requests. The average is 84. So they have on average more requests. This is a very high number. So that's the first thing you really want to be looking at. You want to run this for not only your home page but also your product pages. Make sure that these total page sizes are lower. So that's probably the first thing you want to check is, do you have a bunch of really big images that you don't need on there, or maybe you can reduce the size of those images, especially if you're doing like Facebook ads and your primary targeting is mobile. You have to remember the maximum resolution on a phone is not going to be as big as a desktop, so you don't need these massive images. So that's the first thing I would check out is, do you have images that are too big that you can reduce? The second thing is the image type. So a lot of these image types, I made a really big mistake with one of my stores when I first started out. I saved an image and I accidentally saved it as a PNG file instead of a JPEG. And apparently when you do that, the file size is significantly larger than it would be if you saved it as a JPEG. I think it has something to do with the compression. I'm not exactly sure, but the file size was like 5 or 6 times bigger than it was as a JPEG, and I had no idea. I uploaded that image to my store on my product page, and it was huge. It was like a megabyte for a single image. And I can only imagine how much money I wasted having a bunch of people load this megabyte for this single image that did not need to be that big. So that's something I would also look out for. Make sure your images are the correct extension. The next thing we want to look at is optimizing the images. So a lot of the images on your website right now are probably not compressed at the maximum that they could be. There's this thing called lossless compression, which essentially means that you can compress the image. It will look exactly the same, but it will just make the file size smaller. So you want to go through, and on this, when you run the reports, you'll see optimize images here. You can see that they have quite a few of these images that they could optimize. So this first one here could be improved, reduce the file size by 8.8 kilobytes. and they actually provide the optimized version right here. So you could right click and save this image and go through and save all of these images that could be reduced. There is an app on the App Store. I don't know exactly what it's called, but if you search like optimize images, something like that, it will come up. I don't have any affiliation with it, but I just ran it on my store, and when you run it, you actually get to, I think they charge per image that they will compress, and I think it's like 2 cents per image, and I did my entire store for like under $5. So and they did everything. You just click a button and it goes through and it replaces all the images with the compressed versions. So I thought that was pretty neat. Really inexpensive, and it probably saves me a ton on my total file size for my pages. So that's something I would definitely do. The next thing I want to do is hop over here to this waterfall tab. If you scroll up here, the waterfall is essentially it's showing you how your website is loaded and all of the files in order how they're loaded. So you can see here that this is like the initial request, and it takes 467 milliseconds to load. And then it goes through and it will tell you, every single file that you're loading, every single image, and how long it's taking it to load. So the first thing I would do is I would go in here and I would scroll down and I would see if there's anything that's just really, really large. Like this one here, I'm not sure. This looks like it's a PNG file. It took almost half a second here for the total load speed. That's a long time. Here's one here. I don't know what this is. Some kind of JavaScript file. But I would go through and I would just make sure that, here's 1 second, whatever this is. CloudFront. It looks like it's a JavaScript file as well. So you have a bunch of these JavaScript files that are loading. I would go through and just do a quick little analysis before you start jumping into these other things. But just see if there's some of these things that you can remove. A lot of these are from applications that you install. If you don't know, any application that you install but you have not deleted, it's a possibility that the code that they've installed is still on your website even though it's not being displayed. So they might still be requesting a bunch of JavaScript files that are affecting your load speed even though you're not using the app at all. So I would go through and remove all of your unused apps that you don't intend to use in the future and you just don't want them anymore. Delete all of those. Just make sure you're not loading stuff that you don't need. And the other thing is I would go through. I had a few apps that I don't necessarily think were really improving that much. They weren't improving my revenue, and you kind of have to weigh. Is this app worth the load speed versus the benefit that it brings? And if it doesn't, then I would say get rid of it. Don't just have a bunch of apps just to have apps. Make sure that you're only using the ones that you actually want and need. And then the final step, I'm not actually going to go through this. It's a little bit more technical and it takes some time. I will link in the description below a link to how to actually do this, but you can go through and you can consolidate all of your JavaScript files as well as your CSS files. So you can see here that this website is making 126 requests because it's making all these individual requests for not only the JavaScript files but also the CSS files. You can consolidate all of those into a singular file and have them loaded just once. So instead of making 126 requests, you can make, maybe reduce that by 10, 15, 20 requests, which is going to save you on the total load time. And then the next point is make sure that you're using an optimized theme right off the bat. You don't want to be using a lot of the themes that are offered by Shopify or the developers. They're just not optimized. There are some coders that just don't do as good of a job as others, and the themes are just not optimized from the beginning, and there's nothing you can really do to improve it. So I would go through and I would make sure that your theme that you're using right now is already optimized. If you want to go through and check out like the demo version of the website, you can kind of get a feel for how optimized it is compared to other themes, and just go through and do the GT metrics report and check to see that, the demo theme versus another demo theme, and kind of see, if the theme has 100 requests or something and you haven't even done anything or installed any of your apps, that's probably not a very optimized theme. So that's one thing I would do, is I would just make sure the theme is optimized right off the bat. Maybe consider switching themes if you're not, really invested into the theme that you're using right now. I do have an example here. I think this is called King theme or Kingdom theme. I'm not really sure exactly what it is, but this is just a random one I pulled up. I don't know if this is a free one or this is a paid one, but I just ran a report here, and you can kind of just see that this is a very optimized theme. They're loading their website at 1.8 seconds. They have their file size down to 520 kilobytes with 33 requests. I mean, that's significantly lower than that other website that you saw. And you can see here the page speed with a 96%. That's really, really good. So again, make sure your theme is optimized right off the bat. The next thing that I want to look into is, so once you've actually gone through and done all the things that you can do on GT Metrics, consolidated all your files, removed all the apps, go on to the website itself. And if you right click and do inspect, this is for Google Chrome. I'm not sure how you do this on Firefox or Internet Explorer, but for Chrome, you just right click and you do inspect. And you can see over here that we have some errors going on. You want to just make sure that you're looking into, if there's some kind of issue with the missing files, or there's issues with your JavaScript files, there's errors in your JavaScript files. Go through and make sure that there's not something that may be affecting the load speed with, again, something that's poorly coded, whatever it is. If you're not really techie and you're not able to decipher what this means, you can probably hire a developer to just do a quick little analysis of your website for pretty cheap, just to see if you're throwing a couple errors here, just to see, hey, what's going on? Can you fix these? Something that's just worth doing. This will also show if you have any broken images or files that aren't that you're requesting, but they're not there. This will also be displayed here, so this is a good thing to check. And just for a comparison, you can see the inspect over here. They have no errors on theirs. This Kingdom theme or King, whatever this is. So yeah, I think that pretty much concludes it. I hope this is helpful. Please, guys, if you could subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm just starting out, so I have hardly any subscribers. So it'd be really appreciated if you guys did that. I will see you guys on the next one.